The tzaddik of Itchemeyer Morgenstern Shlita quotes a really interesting story between the Ropshitzer of Naftali of Ropshitz and the Chose of Lublin. The Ropshitzer asked the Chose, where do we find anywhere in the Torah that there's an inyan, there's an imperative, there's a significance of becoming a chacham, of becoming a wise, intellectually sophisticated person? The Torah says, Tamim tiyeh Hashem alkecha, that a person should be simple with Hashem. A person should be a tam, should be wholesome and pure and simple with Hashem. But where do we find anywhere that a person needs to become a chacham, a intellectually developed person? And the Chose gave such an amazing answer. The Chose said, well, in order to become a tam, in order to become simple, a person needs to be very complex. A person needs to become sophisticated, needs to engage in the development of their mind, of thinking about things in complex ways, in sophisticated ways, in nuanced ways, but all of that really only in order to come back to the most basic, to the most simple, to become a tam. So in the Torah telling us to become a tam, it's telling us to become a chacham, but become a chacham in order to become a tam. Be complex in order to arrive at the most basic simplicity. The simplicity of just living with Hashem. But you arrive at that through the complexity of thinking deeply and in a really penetrating way about the world to arrive back at the most basic and innocent and childlike belief in God. And I think about that a lot with this time period because there's a real transition, a really stark moment of contrast in all of our lives right now, because we just went through a very long stretch of having a lot of complexity of mitzvos in our lives, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of richness, and a robust kind of menu, if you will, of different unique mitzvos that we just engaged with. Over Elul, we're preparing, and then there's Slichos, and then Rosh Hashanah, and we have Shofar, and we have the Simanim, and the unique davenings that we engage in, and Hamelech, and then Aseret Yemei Tshuva is packed, and then Yom Kippur is Yom Kippur, and then we're leading up to Sukkot, and building a sukkah, and buying the Da'al Minim, and getting ready for Yontif, and then Sukkot is, we're sitting in the sukkah, we have the Ushpizin, we're with all families coming together, and then we have the Da'al Minim, Lulav and Esrog, and Simchas Beis HaShuevos throughout Chol HaMoed, and then leading up to Shmini Atzeres, and then Simchas Torah, dancing with the Torah, and now we're just back to work, back to school, back to regular life. Families have gone home. Our houses are just back to normal. We're back to the routine, to the mundane. And it can sometimes feel like we were just engaged in something so amazing, and now what do we have? Now we're just back to almost feeling empty. But really what the Chose was teaching the Ropshitzer here, and what he's teaching all of us, is that it's the exact opposite. The purpose, the greatness of all the complexity that we just engaged in, all of that vibrancy, all of that, how much we had, all of that action, we had so much going on, so much engagement with such unique mitzvos, different mitzvos, things that are out of the ordinary. But the purpose of all of that is to bring us back into the most simple engagement of emunah and connection and living with Hashem. That now we can re-engage going to work and just driving in our car and being at home with our families in a simple way and going to shul and davening a regular shachris and a regular mincha and learning something in a regular way and trying to think about growing and connecting with Hashem and how we speak and how we engage with other people and how we think and all those most basic and just very simple things. The purpose of everything we just engaged with for the past month and a half, all of that was the complexity that's meant to bring us back to a more rejuvenated and a more vibrant but simple, pure, and basic way of living with Hashem in the day-to-day, in the routine, in that simplicity.